I would like to call the April 11th, 2022 Agricultural Advisory Board to order. At this time, if we could have just a moment of silence for everything that's happening within our community and within our country, if we could just take a moment of silence. Okay, at this time, I would like to ask Debbie Sewell if she would lead us in the invocation before we start our meeting.
Let us pray. God, we ask that you give us the confidence and boldness to continue to advocate for agriculture, forestry, and natural resources in Oconee County and beyond. Use our collective knowledge and our hope that we will make a difference in our food systems, for our farmers, and for our environment. We ask in his name, amen.
Amen. And if we could at this time stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from March 14th, meeting 2022, and I think we have a couple of corrections. Am I correct, Tessa?
One correction in the approval of the minutes from last one. It was Miss Alexander that called for the vote, not Miss Sewell.
Correct. So with that one change, if everyone had a chance to read the minutes, is there any discussion? If not, I would like to call for a vote to approve the minutes. If I could have a motion.
I move we approve.
I second it.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. We have no one here, so we have no public comment at this time.
I can check the sign-in sheet, but I don't think anybody.
I don't think there's anybody here.
Anybody here?
Okay, so we will move on to our items for discussion. And I'm going to go back to Ms. Tessa. If you would give us an update, since you are our liaison with the Food Council.
Yes, so Mr. Coley has pulled up the website there. That's just so that y'all are aware. There is now a Food Council website, and it has everything from the history to ongoing projects. Their projects thus far, they established officially in October of 2021, and so it's a 9-month term with the current council members. And the first thing they did was actually help with the Feed the 5,000 program with Our Daily Bread, I believe. Yes. And so that was their first thing that they did. Some other initiatives that they are working towards is establishing a food share hub for Oconee County. They're participating in student learning events at Walhalla and Westminster Elementary Schools. And they are addressing the lack of commercial kitchen access for small producers in the area, trying to partner with certified kitchen spaces to try and get them connected with the small producers who are really struggling to get that kind of access. They are having those food community gatherings in each town in the county, and that was something that was part of the SNAP Ed grant that they got initially for the council. So they've had them in Long Creek Mountain Rest, Walhalla, Salem, and Seneca, and they're going to have the Westminster one this month, I believe. And that's just an opportunity to hear from the people in those towns what they see as gaps or strengths within the food system. I haven't gotten any detailed notes about any of that yet, but I will hope to get some of those just to see what people in those places are concerned about. They do have their ongoing work for April, which is the county food assessment, which was also part of that SNAP Ed grant that they received to address strengths and weaknesses in Oconee County's food system. So they've actually got members of the Food Council staff. There's a team of students at Clemson University, local historians from Oconee History Museums and South Carolina Bart Garrison Agricultural Museum, and the Oconee Cultivation Project, as well as some community members, are all working on that food assessment. And so I hope we'll probably see the outcome of that in the next couple of months. And that assessment is the top three things that they're going to be looking at is community health and food education, food access and insecurity, and historical analysis of the county food system. So those are all going to fall under that food assessment. And then based off of that, I think that's how they're going to make the plan for the next term. So they're going to take a break for the summer. I think it's like a 3-month break during the summer, and then start again, perhaps with some new members in the fall.
And they'll have like I'm sure they'll have to for the grant, but a report, so we'll know
Yeah.
what we're looking at and what the focus will be.
Yeah, Greenville County actually has a food assessment report, which is really interesting to look at. And I recommend that kind of, if you're interested in that kind of thing, checking that out, because it is a really interesting kind of breakdown of the food system. And I think that this report is going to be somewhat modeled after that one as well.
Sounds good. So with the identifying the commercial kitchens and that type of thing, have they already identified what is DHEC certified, or do you
I think
know?
they have. Ashley might have some more information on that.
I think that was done within the community food assessment, or the smaller community food assessments too. I know we did for the Long Creek Mountain Rest one. That's kind of one of the goals is to identify maybe the most convenient one within that community.
Right.
So if each community or town gathering was to do that, then we'd kind of have a map of where those are and what's available.
And who's willing to let small producers, because if they're private, then you've got to arrange that.
Or I think it's free to get a quote from DHEC
Okay.
to get kitchens up to standard as well. So places that are interested in doing that, they can make that happen too.
Okay.
Have DHEC come out and see how much it would take to get the kitchen
Up to
available.
standards. Gotcha. Or if they grandfather on some.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Did you have any questions, Steve?
No, I wasn't able to go. I wanted to go to Salem, but my schedule got changed, so I couldn't make it in there in time. But I did hear some positive feedback from them. They did have a good discussion, and especially in our area, as you know, I mean, if you want to go to a grocery store, it's a 30-minute drive at least. And not everybody has transportation, so that's a big issue up there. And I know Mountain Rest, Long Creek area too. I wish I had been there to contribute more to it, but it's definitely something that we need to address. I do know that I understand, and there again, I haven't been able to go yet, but our our Salem local farmers markets has had some good results this year so far. We just started, they just started, not we, I don't have anything to do with it. And so has the, at the farm center, they started last weekend. So things are starting to ramp up again as far as fresh local food, so I'm glad to hear that.
I have the results from the Salem
Oh,
gathering, if we want to listen to those real quick. So they have some barriers identified that, I'll just read off the 5 of them. Identified barriers was building trust with folks in the community who could benefit from outreach programs, need a communication or marketing team or committee to help promote outreach programs, educational offerings, and local food options. Transportation and accessibility to markets and fresh food is limited. Limited Wi-Fi or computer skills for folks who want to use Cafe, which is Clemson Area Food Exchange. And increased price of fertilizer, feed, and other farming needs creates financial stress for the local food producers. And I imagine those are pretty similar barriers to
Everybody.
other communities
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
Especially outlying areas.
yeah.
Because I think the Wi-Fi trunk line is just, it was for the main quarters, but that might be something we want to look at, since that has been identified, is the upcountry fiber with Blue Ridge Electric, I think is going to be able to provide that barrier. Like if you're a rural electric cooperative member, eventually you will be able to get internet through them. I think it's a subsidiary, I should say. I probably should check on that. I'll make that my list. That'll get put on Kim's list, but I'll check on that and try to give an update on that the next time.
Great.
That'd be great.
Because that would help, that would probably help a lot. I was like Debbie, I had a conflict that night, and so
planned
I
to go
just,
too.
I looked at it and I was going to try to, but I couldn't get out of what I was already obligated to, so that's great. So that'll help. And I could be wrong, but I think identifying the kitchens in that area, I think there are some help there.
Yeah, good.
But what you
Um,
have to say?
I will say something, and I'm saying it as not saying it as a representative, but there is cellular internet available in Oconee County now through a local provider. I won't say who. But you may want to check with that. And there's it's just started,
Right?
and Long Creek has some availability up there, as well as Salem.
Okay.
So.
Those outlying areas.
I know, believe me.
Internet is crucial. I mean,
And-
even 911 calls, it's.
Someone other than me,
Okay.
inquiries, I know there's a lot of information.
Okay, all right, gotcha. I understand what you're saying. Anything else? Thank you, Ashley, for that. Do you have anything else, Tess? I didn't want to.
That was what I had.
Okay. Since Rex isn't here, can I have a motion to table the family farm preservation update to go on the agenda for the next time, because he was the lead on that? If that's okay with everybody? If someone will make a motion?
I'll make a motion to table
The farm, okay. Family farm preservation.
family farm preservation
Yeah, to the next
Discussion.
meeting.
until the next meeting.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That is all that we had on the agenda. Something that has came up after the agenda was already printed. I just wanted to let you guys know, Laura will no longer be with us, and I hate that we're going to be losing her, but James will be our contact, and I think we got his email and phone information, and thank you, James, for doing that. So if we could send everything to James, just if you could make sure to Tess to put that in the minutes, that all of our communication will be going to James, and that we appreciate everything that Laura has done for us, and we will greatly miss her, because she did a great job for us over the past several years.
She really helped me out. I can tell you that for
She does a
sure.
great job.
Two of us were.
And she will be missed. And the only other thing I think I told you guys is with DHEC, we will have that update for the May meeting to be on the agenda. We'll see if it gets taken up. With the House, on the next, by May, and then maybe we can get an update on what's happening with DHEC. And we'll see what other bills they take up as well. So if any of those interest anybody, contact your House of Representatives and your senator to tell them where you stand. And we'll see how they vote on it.
And what is it called?
They're taking DHEC and they're going to divide that agency into several agencies. I'm not sure exactly the Senate bill number and the House bill number, but what it basically comes down to is the Health Division will be the Health Division, the Environmental Division will be the Environmental Division. And I think overall, it will help our state run a lot smoother and it'll streamline things, especially for farmers dealing with the environmental side, if I understand everything correct. That's why I was trying to get an update. But I did speak with Senator Alexander, and that is what he told me, is, we're good with the Senate, we're just waiting to see if the House takes it up. So I think it's probably important for us to talk with we have Whitmire and Sandifer are our two representatives, and we probably want to make sure that makes it to the floor.
Does that double the inspections, though?
I'm not sure how that bill's written. We probably need to look at it, unless you know, Debbie, I'll
Well,
let you speak to it.
Yeah, at the very beginning, what the whole idea was because, see, DHEC, like, and the pandemic kind of made it, show its face a little bit more, is they were so stressed with both inspections for like environmental stuff versus health stuff, because they're over, hospitals, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think part of the thing at the beginning was trying to figure out, because they kind of overlap, how to divide it. But I think most agricultural related things, like inspections for, whatever, your soil, with the soil testing type stuff where they have to have certain, they can't have but so much potassium in their, or ammonia in their soil, that kind of thing, when they spread like the chicken manure kind of thing. That will be more on the environmental side,
Okay.
and then the environmental side will be like water testing, that kind of thing. And then like restaurants and hospitals and all that will be more in the health.
Maybe like pre-processing would be.
Yeah, and I think there were still, that was one of the hang-ups, is like the overlapping ones.
And
But I think
they're
they're gonna try to work that
streamline
out where it kind
Yeah.
of, they don't intersect as anymore. So it really won't be the two, it'll, just be one thing or the other. That's what they're trying to
I
work
see.
out, I think.
And I think that's where some of the
Yeah.
different, it's probably the Senate version looks one way and the House version's going to look this way, and then they're going to have a meeting of the minds to how they'll exactly divide it up. But I think anytime they can streamline it, I think we'll all be,
Yeah.
it'll be better for farmers and for the public. So we'll hopefully hear from them. If no one else has anything else, can we have a motion to adjourn?
I moved to adjourn.
Second.
And we are adjourned.